Yo, welcome back everyone to the Tier 2 talk on Retro, of course, joined by Dweg this week with Regali as well as we talk Counter-Strike here in the Tier 2 scene. Always the first question is, Regali, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Good to hear.
What about you?
Yeah, do you know what? That's the first time I've been asked that. I'm thrilled. Yeah, I'm okay, man. I'm okay. I told you earlier, but I casted today a series and it was an interesting one. That's we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. Nothing more, nothing less. Interesting. Today, talking Tier 2 as per usual, starting with the Q&A, obviously. If anyone's got any questions in the Twitch chat when you're watching live, you can watch at twitch.tv/tier2talk. Chuck your questions in. If you want to ask Regali or you know, to the floor, I guess, more than anything, then obviously ping your questions out. Other than that, though, we're just going to jump straight into it.
Yeah, and I think the best way to start it off, Regali, for maybe some of the viewers that aren't too familiar with you and who you play for, just start us off to like how Fnatic Rising started and how you found an opportunity on the team.
Well, it started last year in summer, just before season 1 of WePlay. That's the goal of many organizations, to make an academy team to play in WePlay Academy League and just win there. And my opportunity I just entered the, what was it? An application they have created on Twitter. And yeah, it was my luck to be drafted by my former IGL, Kevin, and Golden, who was another like important player for Fnatic back in the time. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I mean, even in recent history, we've seen that obviously you guys play in the WePlay Academy League, but you also play in a couple of other events here or there. We've seen you in Advanced playoffs, we've seen you in the Elisa event, we've seen you in a couple of multi-vibes. What's it like playing in such a competitive space? Because we know right now that Tier 2 is probably the strongest it's ever been. And with so many events going on, with so many good teams, what's it like playing some of the caliber squads right now?
I mean, it's challenging. You need to prepare before every game because everybody plays different. But now we are categorizing different nations. So, like Russians or CIS is just different than German CS, for example, who's playing slower and with more utility. So we basically have to prepare for every team just before the games. Yeah, but it's challenging, as I said. I don't know. It's not really hard because sometimes you can just stomp the opponents and feel it like an easy game, but sometimes, yeah, it can be a disaster and just do not find a solution when you are losing. So, yeah, I don't know.
If you talk about like the different regions, right, like having different play styles and being different to one another, do you find in the Academy League, because you do have teams from different regions, that you can use that experience in other competitions, or is it like a little bit more difficult to translate it over?
Well, in the Academy League, there are teams that like big Academy, for example, they are playing like the basic German CS that you can find it against other German teams, I think, which you are meeting in Prax, for example. They are all playing like kind of the same. And yeah, I mean, Academy teams are trying to play like the main teams, right? So basically, other Tier 2 teams would try to play like Tier 1 teams. So you see the point, like CIS, CS is just kind of the same, but maybe some players are popping off in different teams.
Now, you spoke about preparation against other teams. What about yourself, mate? When it comes to warm up for an official, any secrets? Any information of what you do before a game?
Right now, I'm trying to follow Dexter's aim routine, who's playing like a lot of deathmatch and aimbots before the games and pracs. But yeah, like just before an official, I would say 30 minutes of aimbots, maybe, and some deathmatch as well, 30 minutes as well. So 1 hour in total. But like in a day, I would play 3 hours.
Okay, a lot of warm up. Get yourself in the zone.
Yeah.
Who's the best player you've played with and the best player you've played against? That could be scrims or in officials.
I mean, 2 days ago I've just played with Simple in FPL, so
if we talk about Tier 2 players, if we narrow it down to the best of Tier 2.
Mir,
yeah?
Yeah, I really like him. I always liked him. I played with, yeah.
And then what about you? You play what, FPL with him?
Yeah, I played FPL, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any rising talents we need to keep an eye out for?
Rising talents from FPL or just
Just FPL or in general? Up to you.
in general? I mean, uh, I don't really know. I mean, from Romania, I can name some, like, for example, Sound, who's actually my friend, for example. Lonix, as we talked about him as well.
Yep.
I don't know. Ersin, because I've seen him, like, you wrote something in a topic about him.
Yeah.
But
Trying to
yeah,
get some more guys out there.
I don't really look out at people like rising talents. I need to play them. Maybe in after the league of We Play will finish, I can name some more.
Yeah. All right. What are some of your goals for the team and yourself for this year? I mean, obviously the main focal point is We Play Academy League. So is it just to win the league? Like, is that the main goal?
Yeah, I would say like my goal is to get top 58 LTV and win the league as well. Maybe everybody's goal is to be there to win the tournament.
Okay. And who's a player that you'd probably look up to the most in CS:GO? Whether that be someone on the main team, whether that be like a tier 1 player, anyone from when you first started CS.
I've always looked up at Simple, but I remember like I was watching Shiro when he was in Gambit Youngsters. So
Mhm.
like I've seen him as a rising talent, as you called it before. As well as Dexter, like I'm watching him since he played in Espada, like just before Spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's them two, like Simple and Dexter, as of now.
Yeah. Okay. Have we got any questions from Twitter? I know we got one from the ex-coach of Cube, Ryan. Is there any
He's
more that
still
have come
coach.
through? Oh, he's still coach, I say.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna
okay.
hate you now. You said that, mate.
Oh, I thought I saw something.
Nah.
My bad. Might have been somebody else.
Oh, that's poor. That's poor. He asked, I think about your good looks and why you play like Zywoo.
Like in practice, I'm doing some Zaivu plays. I don't know about my looks. Like he's trolling so much.
Fair enough.
I
Fair
swear.
enough. All right.
But he's a nice person. We are joking a lot.
He also Dweg. He suggested himself when you talked about the best player that he's played with or against. He's put his name out there. So.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you reckon? Does that make sense, Regali, or not really?
It would make sense in another time, maybe.
Oh, I love that. Someone asked about tips how maybe to get into the Romanian scene if you've ever had an experience there.
Get into Romanian scene.
Yes.
I don't know. Like I've never had that problem, kinda, because I've been in the Romanian scene since the, let's say, beginning, or maybe 1 or 2 years later than the whole thing started. But like you just need to get friends with the good players. You need to be lucky, kinda, to get along with players that are putting in the time and play and have the same goals as you, so you can actually build maybe a team and play in Romanian tournaments and win something, and then get friends with the other players and so on and so on, and you climb up.
Nice.
I'd like to ask actually what it's like having. I mean, obviously, we've seen a lot of teams, academy teams in general, get players get promoted, right? Get up towards the main team, get some experience, and then come back down. Is it difficult as an academy player when you always have players going up and coming back down? Like take Young Ninjas as an example, right? You had like ZTR went up there, then LNZ went up there, and then Fuzi came up there. You've had Banjo go up there, you know, the Pepzor's playing there at the moment. Like, is it difficult as a team when you're not always getting the same five?
I don't really know what to say about it, because they are coming back with more experience.
Right.
So it's helpful for the rest of the teammates from the academy team. But like it's also like a break when you don't have them. You are not practicing with the same people. I don't really know what to answer to that, actually.
Yeah, difficult one. And I think that's probably what a lot of academy teams are facing right. I mean, we saw it with Crimbo just getting the opportunity to go up into the main team. And I would imagine certainly with this next season of the We Play Academy League, we'll probably see some more pickups and more of the academy league players going up to the main teams.
Yeah. sure.
All right. Do we want to move on to the ongoing events?
Yeah,
and
can do.
Have a little chat. All right, no problems at all. So, for those maybe aren't involved in Counter Strike as much as you would maybe think you were, there's a lot going on right now. I feel like Dweg. We're finally getting back to CS, right? I think that we had a big miss out because the RMRs and whatever sort of tier 2 as a whole had a bit of a standstill. We're starting to get back into things, right? We have obviously the major. Everyone's obviously going to talk about that. Obviously, Regali, you've had experienced in advance, but another season going on right now. There's plenty more to talk about when it comes to the online events and what's going on right now, as well as LAN. Do we want to start with the major maybe and work our way down?
Yeah, can do. I mean, it's the big ticket prize, isn't it? Really, the major. It's everyone wants to get there. We'll probably start with the Legend stage, and we can probably have a look at some of the tier 2 teams as well. I mean, Copenhagen Flames, right? Had an opportunity last major to make it through. They weren't able to do so. They've done it this time. Have you played them in any scrims or anything, Regali?
Sadly, yes. Like first time I've played an official with the main team. I played against Copenhagen Flames just before the Stockholm major, and like I got not really owned by aim stuff, but like just team stuff, you know. Like they were playing so good CS just before Stockholm as they play now. And then I wrote on Twitter that at least I lost against a major team. And they actually, I put them, I remember in the Stockholm major, I put them as a 3-0 and they went through with 3-0. And I was a big supporter of them.
Yeah.
And now I still believed in them, like the whole major, yeah.
They beat some really good teams. I mean, the fact that they beat ENCE, I think that's probably the one that you look at the most, right? Taking a map off FaZe and taking a map off Spirit, who went 3-0, is obviously an achievement in itself. But beating ENCE in a best of one's not easy at all. And they were able to do that. Obviously, they had Imperial, probably one of the better draws they could have got in the last round of Swiss. Spirit as well, though, Regali. For me, I look at them and I go, like, they hadn't even played an official, I think, 7 weeks before the RMR. We didn't really know what the new lineup was going to do, and they've just been insane this event. Have you played with, like, you mentioned you played with some of these guys, but did you expect them to do as well as they did?
Yeah, I've put them in my PKMs, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, every time, yeah, because I was watching demos of Dexter, and like the whole team was playing around him, and they were playing very good as well. So yeah, I've believed in them as well.
Okay.
I should have put them in my pick'ems. I don't know what I was doing, mate.
I wasn't thinking them. I was thinking, all right, they'll get through the first stage, but the second stage to make playoffs.
Fair play to them.
Yeah, really so. I mean, Dexter's played insane this event. He's been putting up some really good numbers. And even some of the younger guys too. Siren, Patsy, we're getting to see more out of them. So, to go 3-0, get themselves a spot in the top 8 and to play on stage, it will be interesting to see what they can do there.
Did want to say on a more broader level is maybe not the teams as such. I think in some cases absolutely so, but the names that we're missing out on a stage this year, right?
Yeah.
When you look at the pick'ems, I had FaZe 3-0 and I had Imperial 0-3. Obviously, neither of those came in. And then I had obviously Na'Vi, ENCE, Copenhagen Flames, Heroic, but we're missing G2. We're missing Vitality, Cloud9. Outsiders maybe not so much deserving a top 8, but only going 1 and 3, and obviously losing to C9, to ENCE and G2. They got a very tough draw, admittedly, but we're missing out on so many names this year that actually I'm super surprised to see teams like Furia, who absolutely earned it, by the way, Copenhagen Flames, Spirit as well, teams that you wouldn't have even considered to be beating, you know, the top end of teams.
For sure.
The fact that Spirit got a best of 1 over Heroic, for example, and that Copenhagen Flames, you know, take a map off of FaZe and they beat ENCE in a BO1. It's actually really surprising that when you look, maybe you wouldn't class them as tier 2, but the teams that are less favoured to win the whole major playing this event, how well like the people that we watched in the tier 2 scene merely like a year ago do in this event.
Yeah. Regali, do you want to touch on Bad News Eagles at all? I don't know if you've played them much at all. But obviously they're putting on a bit of a show. Like, they had a bit of an uncomfortable time, I think, in the Legend stage. But as a whole, they hit insanely hard. And individually speaking, they're probably one of the best teams in tier 2 right now.
Yeah, Probably. Like their aim is insane. Everybody's playing a lot of Face It, FPL, yeah, just CS in general.
Hmm.
And I remember they play together for a long time, right? Like over 1 year.
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
been a while because they were the ex-Blink boys, weren't they, Ryan? And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
we've seen what they've been able to do now in Bad News Eagles, but they have been together for a very long portion of time. And I think everyone's just finding really good form. Like GXX with the
Yeah.
AWP, he's putting up some really big numbers. Duran Flutter and Sinnersby, like they're constantly just hitting heads. And then even Rigon, like he showed up massively, I think, in the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
major for him. And I'm pretty sure I read that 4 out of the 5 players on Bad News Eagles have won FPL 2 or more times. Like, it's insane to think that
The individual
not
talent.
only are these guys doing it in officials and like actual events, but how great they've been and
Yeah.
sort of prospects from the FPL sort of scene as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they have shown that you can play simple CS, just have individual aim, like great aim actually, and just win games.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just simplistic. I think when you watch their games, right? Like they don't do too much fancy stuff. I think they're by the book. Their trading game's really good. And they work off each other really well. I think they're a very emotional team. That could come back to bite them a little
Yeah.
bit. But obviously, when things are going right and when things are going really well, you can see the passion. You can see how much it means to them. So I'd like to see them get some more Tier 1 experience. Sort of throw the name around a couple of invites and get them into some playoff positions and things like that. Any other surprises that you noticed in the legend stage here, Regali?
Not really. I mean, it was a disappointment that Vitality didn't go through, but no, nothing else.
Yeah. I think it was good to see Crimbo playing for Big. I mean, obviously for Farfan, like we'd seen quite a lot of him playing on Sprout, but even for Crimbo, he's jumped quite a big level of competition, and I think he was probably one of their best players actually. Yeah. Do we want to maybe go through at least the bracket draw? Bring that up of
Yes.
what the
Yeah,
quarterfinals
yeah.
onwards look like.
Let's do it.
And maybe we can get into some pick'ems here, Regali. You
Oh.
can talk us through your
we
pick'ems
go.
on the playoffs.
Yeah, of course.
All right, I'll bring it up in just a second. So obviously the top 8 teams from the Legends stage move forward to the playoffs. Spirit, Na'Vi obviously in the top seeds, Ents, Nip, FaZe all 3 and 1, and then Flames, Heroic, and Furia in the 3 and 2 stage. So I'll bring up at home for everyone to have a look at now what the champion stage looks like. Very stacked, and for the pick'ems, if you already haven't got a gold medal, like me. Do you know what? I've gone all out, I must admit. And regarding you flamed me a little bit off stream for my pick'ems, but you know, I'll take that. I'll take that. At the end of the day, I feel like Stockholm was quite easy to predict how it was going to go in terms of, you know, who was going to win the major and sort of the structure of the bracket. Here, honestly, my head is spun on how anything is going to go.
Yeah, I mean, the first stage, let's say, like the first matches are kind of easy to predict, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I would put FaZe the first game.
Yeah.
And then Spirit. I'm a fan of Spirit. Even though, like, on LAN, I don't think they have more experience than Furia. So that's kind of hard
That
as
could
well.
be a close game, to be honest.
Yeah.
Spirit Furia. I don't think there's a clear favorite there.
No. And then I put Ens, of course. Like, they must win that one. And then Na'Vi.
Okay, so we're going mainly favorites, I think, in the first round. The only upset I look at is probably like Ents, Copenhagen Flames, and Spirit Fury. Like those are the ones that you look at as being okay. The maybes, there might be an upset potential. So FaZe Furia or FaZe Spirit, I should say, and then Ents, Na'Vi into the semis. Who you got going into the final?
So then it's Na'Vi.
Na'Vi will beat Ents.
Yeah, I think so. And then FaZe would be the Spirit or Furia.
Yeah, okay. So then, all right, we've got a FaZe Na'Vi final. Best of 3 on stage. The crowd roaring. Who have you got?
I put Na'Vi, but it's 50-50.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
It could just come down to like how strong they are in the first couple of days, like how strong both teams are in the quarterfinals and the semis to get a bit of a gauge of what they're like in a final. But you probably bang on the money, Ryan. Like, I don't think there is a clear cut favorite to not only win like even the quarterfinals, but even the grand
Yeah.
final. It could be anyone. I mean, there could be a massive surprise
Yeah.
in one of the other teams going for a big run. If you wanted to go for like an underdog pick, Regali, like one of the teams that you thought if they really showed up they could win the major, who would you pick?
Spirit.
Spirits.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Back-to-back CIS teams to win the major.
Yeah, I
Maybe.
think so.
Yeah, Dexter firing on all cylinders.
I mean, Brolan could go huge with Nip and just win it all, but I don't know.
Yeah, all right. Well, that touches on the major. Of course, starts Thursday, so starts tomorrow if you're watching the stream, or today if you're watching the YouTube video.
Or yeah.
So yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 days of action.
Yes. Let's drop it down a division though, and I think obviously we could start with Challenger League and then move to Advanced, right? Obviously the ongoing events right now being that we have ESEA, the events that they host. Obviously the top level now called Challenger League, ran by ESL. A brutal format, a brutal format to what we're used to seeing, Dweg, and I guess Regali as well. You would know about this one rather than the two groups of what it was 7 or 8 previously. It's now 4 groups of 4 GSL format. And it's harsh. It is very, very harsh. And so when we look at already the 2 completed groups, we touched on it last episode, Dweg, obviously being that Sinners beaten Ecstatic. That was the most recent victory that we had. Entropic smashing through their group. Movistar Riders on 1 win, topping out Group A. Group C, we speculated to be a bit of a close group. And considering all things, Copenhagen Flames have to forfeit their game against Falcons, obviously, because they are playing in the major. There's a chance in which they have to play against SEA, yet to be decided when, that they lose their spot. And obviously they have to then play through relegation, which I do believe happened last season, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, the group ends on the 24th, so they have to play the game by the 24th at the last date. So
yes,
and they've got to get the decider best of 3 in as well. So you're probably having the idea that the elimination match is on the 23rd at the latest. So that's in 5 days' time. So it could come down to a stance in which Copenhagen Flames forfeit both of their games. I wanted to ask you about SEA, Regali, because obviously they were 1 game away from qualifying to the major from, I think, the RMR A, and yet they lost 1-2 to a new look AGO. They got 2-0'd by a Portuguese for the win side, I think a few days after the RMR, which meant that they couldn't make conference, and instead they had to go through like a different qualifier and go to the play-in stage at all. So surely after at least a decent performance at the RMR, you could carry that forward, but their online results are looking pretty poor right now.
I don't really know what to say about SEA, because I was a supporter of SEA in the RMR, actually. I've hoped for them because their coach, he was my ex-coach for the Romanian team I've played in just before Fnatic Rising. And yeah, like, I don't know, they're weaving kind of in online events, but just as Copenhagen Flames, they are playing good on LAN. So I would go with Ego, right, to win Group C.
Yeah, well, they're playing Falcons now, aren't they?
Yes.
Which is the old LDLC team. In case anyone doesn't know, Python, Kyojin, Haji, Maka, Kios. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, even this new look AGO. Are you familiar with the younger boys? I mean, they've got Ultimate, who I think's their Orpa, and then they've got Axio. I don't know either of those 2 guys.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we've practiced against them.
Okay.
2 matches, I think, or something. They play good.
The new lineup or the older lineup?
With the new lineup.
Okay. How were they?
They were good, actually. Yeah, they were playing very like smart and like slow, kind of.
Okay. I mean, they obviously did well at APL, but I think in the online events, we know that maybe they're not like a top-end team. What about Falcons as well? Have you had much experience playing them?
No, I've never played against them. Not even as like individual players on Faceit. I've never.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Maybe Chaos, but like not recently.
Yeah. All right. But yeah. Again, Group C coming down. A game on right now could be quite important to find out who's going to be top of the group. Group D, I wanted to touch on Regali because X-Mad Lions, like, why are they still hanging about? Honestly, they've been dropped. That all the players have said on Twitter, "Oh, we're gonna part ways. We're looking for new homes." They're playing like 3 events, so they're trying to get the team going still.
I don't know. I think they want to like not lose experience. Let's say. I mean, you cannot lose experience, but like they don't want to waste time, kind of.
Yeah.
I think they are searching for teams, right? Everybody's searching
Yeah.
for a team. Okay. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I played with Sam Young just yesterday. I think. He's grinding. I think, as well as the others. So.
Yeah, I would imagine quite a few roster shuffles have to come through to get those guys on teams. I mean, I look at TMB and Borup and think, oh, where do the Danes go? Right? I mean, do they go like a tricked? Do they go down a bit? Do they go try and get on an ecstatic? Or do they just go EU again and try and go that sort of route? I mean, you've obviously got some very good teams in there. Sprout, they just picked up Lawnix. Heat as well. We saw what they were able to do at the RMR. K23, I think they've had a very good year so far. They're one of the highest teams we've got right now in Tier 2. So that Group D, outside of maybe X-Mad Lions, it does look quite strong. Have you played any of K23, Heat, or Sprout?
Yeah, I've played against K23. Which... yeah, only those, because Heat is the French team, right?
That's right,
yes.
yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I've played only against K23.
Yeah,
and they were good.
Their young boys are really on point. I mean, they've got a strong Orpa and Exy, and then obviously like Fame and Norbert. I swear, anytime I watch like a Norbert demo or just see him like on a game, he's just always walking through smokes. He's always just lurking, and just if you're caught off guard, he just gets 3 kills.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Should we move over to Advanced now, Ryan? Because I guess that kind of touches on ECL.
Yeah. Of course. There's always stuff to talk about in Advanced. Games going on all the time. A lot of teams playing in Advanced this season. I don't ever remember it being so full, right? Not just with good teams, but with teams of this amount. We have 97 teams playing in this Advanced season. And I'm gonna double check the stat line before I feed it to you, but I think there's only like 160 teams in main, right? So you think how many the comparison between Advanced and main is now? It's actually there's a fair gap between the sides, but I definitely thought it was a lot lower than what it is here. I'm gonna double check before I leave the stat there as it is. So in main this season we have 148 teams, right?
Jeez,
so we have 50 teams less than main and Advanced. So I thought it was going to be a little bit more of a closed circuit. Obviously, we'd be here for weeks if we were going to talk about every single team that's playing. So we can just talk about the top lot maybe and sort of discuss and have a little chat, because there is a lot of teams that have, I think, new teams, new changes, new opportunities. There's a lot to discuss here. Obviously, Skade undefeated, as you would expect. Yes, it's very much the Skade show. Apex still doing pretty well up there as well in Advanced. Obviously, we have the new Coalesce side with the changes that they've made. They're not looking too bad right now, currently in the runnings for playoffs at least, so that's always a promising one. LDLC in the lineup as well. Obviously, with the cut-off, I'll hide the rest just so you can see for now. Those are the teams, if it were to end today, that we'd see in playoffs. Feels like we're missing a lot of talent, right, in this list. And obviously, there's still a fair way to go, but if you have a scroll down, right, we have some seriously good teams that are kicking in this area as well. Obviously, we have ITB, I guess the UK favoritism there, Fanbit in the mix, but BNE, Kova, Kawana, eSuba, the list goes on, obviously with the X-Heaven and Hell boys as well. Kappa Bar we've seen in the Elisa events, Entropic Prague, Forza, obviously VP Prodigy in there as well, Little Mix. There's so many good teams, like the list just goes on and on and on. It's super competitive this season, and to think we're only, what, like halfway through the season now, it's still early doors to see who goes through, but man, there's some serious contests here.
What's it like playing in Advanced, regardless? Because I know it's been a few seasons since you played in Advanced, but it's all best of ones. You play, 14 games, and you don't always know, like, it's a randomized map veto, not to an extent, but you ban 3, they ban 3, and you get the remainder, or they just... It's like that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to play ESEA when, like, you can actually qualify to ESL. And it's also good when you prioritize like practice and then ESEA. But like, if there's no time for practice and just play ECA, then I don't see the point. Like it was for us a kind of big problem because I had school and some others had school as well, and like the ESEA, let's say it was like a pain in the ass sometimes because we had to schedule some games and we were playing like 2 games per day sometimes because we had to
Yeah.
schedule them like just some weeks after uh, yeah,
Yeah.
and like
Makes it a
we didn't have time to practice, especially in the nighttime because of
yeah.
the games.
So scheduling was a bit difficult.
Yeah.
Could be for some other teams. I mean, I'd like to get your thoughts on Masonic, because I feel as if this year they've really started to prove themselves as to be a bit stronger team. They play tactically quite well. Have you seen much of Masonic at all?
I've watched, no, actually not their gameplay, but I've checked their results on HLTV.
Hmm.
They played the Danish clan some weeks ago,
Yep.
and they were in final, I think. They played
I
against
think
Australis Talent in final, I think.
yeah, that sounds about right. I think we touched on that a couple of shows ago, didn't we,
Yes.
Ryan? That they were in finals twice. I mean, Skade, for them to be in advance, right? Like, they're going
First
straight
of
up.
all, come on. Yeah.
They're going straight up. And
Yeah.
this Skade side, have you played much of them? Because when we look at the roster changes, obviously they merged Skade and Fiend together. And firepower wise, I don't think you can make this team any stronger than what it is. You've just got so much firepower on this team.
Yeah, but it seems like this team is around like for ages. Like I
Hmm.
remember I've played them. I think every lineup I've had like before when they were like with hard. Or no,
Yeah.
actually I'm mixing up. Am I?
Well, that was the Fiend. That was the Fiend side.
Yeah, that was the Fiend. Okay, then I don't really know, but like I've played them a lot, even in practice, even in ESEA. So I think season our second season of ESEA, I think we played them in a playoff, and yeah, it was a tough game, and we played with stand-in. I remember Golden was the stand-in, and we still
Yeah.
lost.
Hmm. Okay. I mean, the only other surprise to, I would say, the average viewer is Coalesce doing quite well. I mean, they're not playing on HLTV very much, Ryan. I mean,
No.
obviously they've got some decent names on the squad, but because they aren't on HLTV very much, that's probably where a lot of people kind of think, oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, they're doing all right. I mean, they're currently 12th, I think. So trying to get some more out of them. But yeah, it's very difficult, and I mean, even making top 24, I think in playoffs, there's a lot of good teams that just don't even make it. Some teams that don't even come close.
Yeah. And the saddest thing about all of this, right, is if you ever scroll down and have a look at the drop zone, we have still some teams here that you would talk about and sort of discuss that are going to get relegated. And they go back to
Yeah.
main. And obviously we talk about the importance of the ESEA leagues in getting to Challenger League and getting that spot in conference. For some of these teams, this is a massive step back. I mean, talk about Honoris as a team, obviously. We haven't seen them in much tier 2 at all. It's a team that's very much been on the low since like 2020 when I first started casting, right? It was just a team that struggled beyond belief. Them dropping down, I imagine at some point they're just going to have to say goodbye to the old guard and bring someone new in. Obviously, iNation in there as well, one shot going. Zero Tenacity, I think we've heard of a couple of times, and a team that's sort of been
Even Apex Rebels, they
sitting
had
in there.
one forfeit loss.
That's
and
what I was
going
going to talk about. Apex Rebels, I think, undergoing roster changes as well right now,
Yeah,
if
they
I'm not
are.
mistaken. So, obviously a bit difficult for them, but should you be 0-6, Apex Rebels, obviously going a bit backwards there, and that's a bit painful to see. If I'm not mistaken, they're playing in WePlay, right?
Yeah, they're playing
So,
I
there.
don't know.
so again, we'll have to wait and see what happens and how that goes. But yeah, that is always interesting, and the teams that are edging in and around as well. You scroll up, obviously, there's some teams that we've seen for a little while stuck at around the advanced level. Some teams that have come up. Forza surprises me, but then again, they've only played 3 games, right? So we can't exactly
Yeah.
judge them being like,
Nah.
oh, you're 64th. Like, more than likely, we're going to see them in playoffs, or at least you'd hope so.
Yeah.
But yeah, always interesting to see how the season shapes up. And do you know what? I reckon that there's going to be a lot of change to the top 24 from now until the end of the season in terms of how things are
Probably.
ranked out and whatever. So yeah, advanced, always a competitive one, and I'll have a little scroll up here and have a look at the team names. Regali, is there anyone that you have as favourites to win this advanced season, or any teams that you're looking out for to see in ESL Challenger League next season?
I haven't really watched ESEA since we are not playing it, but like While we are scrolling to the league,
That's
I
the
don't.
top bit. There you go.
Okay. I mean, skate, right?
Yeah.
It has to be.
They're
Into
more
the breach. Are they
forwards.
playing with? Are they playing with Smuya still?
Yes, still playing with
Yes.
Smuya.
Okay, then they have a chance.
Whoa,
Right.
toxic. Toxic. Don't think they have a chance without him. No, I think actually this team's pretty interesting. All in all, we'll see. We'll see how things go. Interesting that they got Tadpole listed, right, and not Thomas. Don't know what's going on there, but
Well,
dunno.
it's because he's been filling in with Family Games, isn't he?
yeah, true.
So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, that touches a bit on Advanced. They'll always sort of shift about a little bit. I mean, even you got a lot of teams that were at the major and at the RMRs playing here. So, one thing that surprises me, Regali, like you obviously said how scheduling was a bit awkward for you guys. There are so many academy teams here in ESEA. So, why do you reckon they play in Advanced then?
I mean, some of them they might play full time, but right now, like
Right. Okay.
I would not have any problem of playing ESA right now because I can be full time now. I've finished school, and neither Matthias or Banjo, as you know him. I don't really know why we are not playing this season. I don't really know if we are going to play the next ones. Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough. Do we want to move on to upcoming events then, and we'll have a
Can
little
do, mate.
chat about the upcoming stuff. A lot. There's an awful lot here. Oh, excuse me. We'll start with I think it will be easiest to jump into the events that have been announced, and maybe we could talk about Elisa a little bit, because obviously that's an event, Dweg, that both of us have worked for a little while now, and it's always an interesting one to have a little chat about and sort of discuss. I'll bring up the bracket for everyone to see now. Those are the teams that we have coming into this event. All in all, obviously the top half of the teams that got invited to this event through the main Swiss stage, and the bottom half are the teams that had to qualify through the regional stage, right, the regional Swiss. So when we look at this, I think obviously we can touch on the academy sides, more specifically, of course, the big academy boys qualifying through there. They had a decent run at the regional Swiss. A lot of decent sides. We talk about Mad Lions from Advanced still, or Challenger League still playing. They've got invited to this as well, and obviously qualified through the regional stages. Sinners, Ecstatic, Apex. There's a pretty decent level to the invited teams. Always put on a show, Elisa, when it comes to their teams. But this here specifically, this series, this season or so, actually, it's very hard to tell you the top 8 that are going to qualify here.
I'd say that maybe they're lacking some of the hardest hitters than maybe they have in previous invitationals. What that might show is that they get invited into the playoffs instead. Like, we've got no Skade, we've got no BNE. It could be coming down to a scheduling factor as well. For Big Academy, obviously Keto had a very good event. Now, I don't know if you've seen much of them with Keto, but do you reckon he's going to stay there for a while?
He's going to play the We Play Academy League for sure. I mean,
yeah.
And if they are going to win the whole thing, maybe he's going to stay. I don't really know.
I mean, it's a tough position he's found himself in, because I don't think there's much space available on the main team at the moment. Like, obviously, if he comes down and gives some experience and maybe starts putting up some better performances, he might get the call back up. But knowing that they brought Farfan over, knowing they brought Crimbo over, I don't know where he'd fit back in. So it might be quite a long time in which he stays with the academy team. EC Kiev as well. I think we spoke about them, Ryan, on the last show, that they did really well in the Dallas quals, and they're getting more opportunities here in Elisa. This is the first time that they've been playing here.
Yeah, it's nice to see those lads get that opportunity. Obviously, as you said last episode when we talked about Dallas and what have you there, actually these guys, okay, sure, didn't get a great result in terms of the event, but the level of teams that they were playing against and sort of the way that it went for them, I think they do deserve the better opportunities. It does feel very much the time for them as such, obviously making it through the qualifiers. If I'm correct in saying, we had the chat last episode about it, and they smashed through the qualifiers. They had some close games, but the level of teams they were playing against was super good, and they were on form. And I mean, obviously, Sprout undergoing some changes as well, losing Marix recently. That's always going to be an interesting one to have a chat about and sort of discover how that goes. Saw, as we touched on earlier, nearly making the major, one best of 3 away, couldn't get it done. They come back, and I can only guess for vengeance, right? Because Sinners were also in a similar situation, losing out to their spot in the major. Ecstatic didn't even make it to the RMRs in the first place to play, despite having Wolfie at the time. And so obviously, there's a lot of storylines to go off, right, for this Elisa event. Not just for the invited teams, but the full qualified ones as well, right? We still have your Tricks, your Masonics, your Enterprises, your 777s sort of returning. ITB, their first time playing in an Elisa event, did very well in the regionals. They get to play again here as well. Kova, we always talk about. There's actually a pretty stacked lineup when it comes to the qualified stage. But as you said, right, I think when you look at sort of the level that Elisa have had, we probably have a Skade invite to the playoffs, but actually, you know, maybe a Bad News Eagles invite as well if they're feeling up to the task. But it does feel like we're the middle ground of the tier 2 space right now.
Yeah, I'd like to ask about Ecstatic, because I think, Regali, if I'm not mistaken, didn't you play them last, Elisa, when you played?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, what do you reckon
It was
of
a long
them?
time ago. I mean, they were playing very good. I reckon they are playing better now with their new Opor, right? I think it's more aggressive and it's creating space for the rest of them. Yeah, but I haven't watched like the new lineup. But they have to be better. I think so.
Yeah, try and make that next jump up, be more consistent in the top 30. I think a lot of these teams, right, recent roster changes come. I mean, AGO's been the same. Even Tricks, we'll see what they're kind of made of. But as a whole, I think we've got a very good balance, right? You don't have too many teams that are just complete favorites, and you also don't have too many teams that are too weak. So that could be quite a competitive atmosphere. And I think the scheduling is very good for the players as well, because they only play one best of 3 a week. Whereas in some of the other events, you know, it's playing a best of 3 every day. So it does become a little bit more difficult in that department. But yeah, keen to see, you know, what the main Swiss is made of and if there are any surprises there.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about Fragleague a little bit maybe. Obviously, we're in the upcoming events. We're still yet to obviously discover the grand finals and whatnot. So we'll run up the bracket for everyone at home. A more local event, maybe Regali, you'll know a little bit about the teams here. This is a very stripped back event. Obviously, you can see we had Lil Mix and Coco Lovers invited to the playoff stage. Lemon Dogs beating ISO Esports. The Kappa Vikings game actually hasn't been played yet. That's just me being stupid, so ignore that. I'll edit that in just a second. But all in all, I think Dweg, you wanted to touch on this event. Thoughts here are, obviously, we talked about Elisa just a second ago. Kappa obviously came from the Elisa regionals, didn't do all too well, didn't get the qualifying place at least, and we're yet to see them play here. What do we think about this event?
I mean, we obviously had Quicks and HNS on the last show, so now see what they're sort of like from the semi-finals onwards. And I think from the semis and the grand final is on LAN, so it is a little bit of a smaller scale Nordic event. Have you seen much of any of these Nordic teams, Regali, whether it be Little Mix or, I mean, even the Coca Lovers? I think they're the team in which Jim Fat came from before he went to Mao's NXT, the Conquer team. I think they were known as back then.
I only know Lil Mix from this bracket. Like, I don't know the others. Coco Lovers. Like, can you name somebody else other than?
They've got Yemi, who used to be on Havu. They've got Sadex, who was on SJ. Linksy, I think, was there as well. And then Elfern and Choco. So it's really just Sadex, Yemi, and Linksy, which are like the known players on that team.
Yeah, they've played for a team called SJ or something.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, they were good back then, but I don't know now.
I think this probably allows Ryan some of the unranked teams to get some HLTV points, because other than Little Mix, no one has a ranking on HLTV.
Yeah.
So I think very similar to the Beyond event that we had in the UK, where it's on LAN. It's an opportunity to show your face and maybe prove that you're one of the best Nordic teams and get your name out there a little bit more.
Yeah, and obviously the team that I coached for, Ignite, got pummeled by ISO last night, so I know those guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
interesting.
Lost 16-8 on Ancient. That felt good. Nah, those guys actually super surprised me. They know how to play Counter-Strike at the end of the day, and So yeah, always fun to see that. We got anything else on that bracket? Obviously the Lemon Dogs guys, I feel like we've known for a little while, but you know they haven't really surprised us all too much. But it only comes with time, right? So I guess for that event, we'll have to check in at the end and see
when
how
it's
things
finished.
get on and whatever that is. We can move forward to RePUBLEAGUE, and I think I'll start this by running up the video. It was a cool little announcement that they had just to showcase what was going on during that. So we'll wheel that up now for everyone to watch at home. Welcome to the RePUBLEAGUE Closed Qualifier. Oh my God! Alright, so we talk about the teams there. Obviously, it was a bit flashy, so I'll bring up the Liquipedia right away so we can have a little chat about it all. There is some seriously good teams in this event here, I think. When we talk about...
It's not even the event, is it?
Exactly. Exactly what I was going to point out, right? We talk about an event where, if I scroll up, obviously the overview is there's 120,000 euros up for grabs. Entropic, Eternal Fire, Forza already all invited, and we're still yet to know 5 of the invitees, and obviously 8 teams that come through from this closed qualifier that was just announced. Man, what a stacked team list we have, right? Obviously, the bottom 4, ITB, Mad Lions, Sampi, and Gentium come from the qualifiers that they'd hosted. But we talk about maybe ESL Challenger League, and this feels a little bit of a one-up, right? Where we get to see some of the younger teams in your Malzahn XT, Enterprise as well, not so much young with obviously the changes that they've made recently as well. But we have your Sprouts, your Apex Case. Nice to see that those guys are around as well. There's a lot of Counter-Strike to be watching here, and I for one am actually very excited to see how this kicks off.
I wanted to ask straight away, Regali, any thoughts on the Slovakian super team of Team Sampi? Did you see that announcement of their new team?
No.
So it's Guardian, and then what is it? Agis, Matties, and Savannah that all played in like that Asuba Enterprise sort of team. They've brought in this guy Tagged. I'm not familiar with him. I haven't heard of him before, but it's the first time in quite a while that you've actually got a Slovakian team that, on paper, looks pretty good.
I know Tags from FPL. Like he's decent.
Okay.
He's helping a lot, and he will like get a lot of knowledge of the game from Guardian for sure. I think Guardian will help them a lot because Metis, I've played with him as well. Like he has good aim, which will be used, of course, under Guardian's experience.
Yeah. I'll be keen to see what they're made of, because, I mean, you'd probably know it from a small region, right? Where it's difficult to be the best team in your region, but also one of the best teams in Europe. And I think that's might be a factor that Sampi struggle with, is that they might dominate everything locally, but come the European scene, what are they going to actually be able to do? That's probably the next question. And this could be a good opportunity to see what they do here.
I was going to say as well, I think Guardian played for Singularity at one
That's
point,
right.
if I'm not mistaken, and they struggled big time. I think they even had Seized on their team, right?
Yeah, they had Seized and Clax. And,
that was like a pretty solid side, and we just didn't see them. Didn't see them at all. And it was, you know, and obviously I'm excited to see this Slovakian side play. I think Guardian coming back is like super cool for me as well. Someone that I looked up to so much when I started watching CS years ago. Him coming back and playing, I guess, obviously a big turn down of the level considering he used to play in Na'Vi. But I think this is to set the feelers out, and for me, this is the big judgment for Sampi, and I guess for Guardian specifically, is does he still have it, and is this side the side that we wanted to see, right, where he comes back and he can guide these newer players into the space and sort of show what's up. Similar storylines, I guess, that you can have with the Enterprise side, but not so much with building up experience. We've just brought on a lot more. Han, obviously, joining alongside Stinks is a pretty cool change to see. Obviously, Enterprise, we knew as the stand-in. I think it was season 38 when it was called ESEA Premier. They played that one season because Forza got the qualification to Pro League. And we saw Enterprise play. Didn't bottom their group, surprisingly. And obviously that jump from Advanced to ESL Challenger League at the time, ESEA Premier, is always a big one. But since then, we haven't really seen much from them, just sort of sticking around, your local Swiss stage events and not really finding much. And I'm wondering, Han obviously coming from Fate, is this the upgrade? Is this the change that Enterprise needed?
Well,
Yeah,
go on, Regali.
yeah, definitely, because Blitz is a friend of mine, and he was always telling me that they need an opper in their team. And now that they got Harden, and Harden is not just an opper, like he's good. I think he will bring a lot to that team.
Tell me about Blitz a little bit more, because I remember he joined that MNA side, which had like Oscarich and it had like Palmy, like it had a couple of well-known tier 2 players, and we didn't really get to see much from them. We obviously know that he played on Nexus quite a few times and in the Romanian scene, but outside of the Romanian scene, what do you think he's actually like going up against European competition?
I mean, he's playing better, I think.
Okay.
Not recently, because he told me that he didn't practice a lot because they knew they would change the lineup either way. So yeah, they just didn't practice, and he played poor. But I think when he moved to Enterprise and he played more international teams with the international lineup, I think he played way better than in Nexus.
Yeah, I think we'll probably touch on it a little bit later on with the roster changes of obviously Han coming through. But that's a massive pickup. Like he was without a doubt one of tier 2's best AWPers last year. So getting that opportunity of him getting on a team that's in all accounts struggling. I mean, I think when I casted them last, they'd won 9 out of 39 best of threes. Like it was just rough. It was really rough this year. So the fact that they've made some changes to the lineup, it's understandable. And now they've got an opportunity to prove themselves. Should we maybe think about our predictions for the opening round here, Ryan? We can maybe get into.
So here we go. I think I can do this. That's good. Okay. So we can see the opening matchups that are going on. Obviously, they start on Monday, next Monday coming, my birthday. So I'm not working the first day, I must admit. I took the time off. I'm working Valencia instead, which is we start 23rd to 26th, quickfire. Again, it feels a little bit less stressful on the players, much like an Elisa, where it's more one game a week rather than obviously a game a day or whatever. Skade, BP5, Apex, Hellslayers. Regali, what's your thoughts on these ones? I think this is the more one-sided start that Group A will want.
Yeah, Skade and Apex for sure.
Yeah, they're pretty easy for me. I think Hellslayers actually showed that they can be competitive. So that's obviously the JW and Flusher team. And they look okay. Like, I don't think they're world-class beaters just yet in the tier 2 scene, but they're decent. So I think if Apex have an off day, that could actually be a fairly close game. But I mean, Apex are going to be favorites by far.
Oh, absolutely. Ecstatic Enterprise, Sprout, Mouse and XT. I think this gets a little closer, but I think I know where my money is.
I would say Enterprise, the first one.
Yeah?
All right.
Just because they could have the honeymoon, like new lineup and stuff. And then Mouse and XT, because, well, it's just a team that has always played good, I think.
Yeah, okay. So then maybe not so much going with the favorites. I mean, for Sprout, it could be an opportunity to see Lornex. I mean, a lot of Romanian representation in these two games. But we'll see. I mean, obviously, for Enterprise, this is their first game with the new lineup on HLTV. I think they played a couple of ESEA games, but with the new lineup especially. And then I even want to ask about Mal's NXT, because they got MHL, who I think a lot of people knew that he was already a very much class AWPer in the tier 2 scene playing on AGO. But Jimfat, not many people were aware of him.
Your mic is muted.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah.
Now I can, yeah.
Do you ask your question again, Dweg?
Oh, yeah. No, I was just going to say, mate, like, obviously for MHL, everyone kind of knew about him before joining Mal's NXT, but not for Jimfat. So can you maybe, like, tell us a little bit about him?
Well, about Jimfat, I didn't really play against him, actually.
So just kind of seen him then?
Yeah, I've seen him. He's playing insane, but, like, I didn't play against him, so... it all comes down to how you play against different people.
Yeah. All right. Okay, well, an opportunity in the Academy League for sure.
Yeah.
Mad Lions taking on Ungentium, K23
no
in
idea.
Tropic
Yeah.
Prague. This is where it gets difficult, right? I think it's
The
safe to
first
say
game,
the
yeah.
first game, you can maybe side with the Mad Lions guys. Second game, K23 in Tropic Prague.
Gonna pump them.
I reckon that is going to be a very swift 2-0 to K23.
They're gonna pump them. They're gonna destroy them. I mean, for Mad Lions against the Poles, I don't know, because
Yeah.
we touched on it briefly. I don't know what the vision is for this team. Do they want to play really well to showcase, okay, we're here to get picked up? Or is it like, all right, let's just have a bit of fun and not prac? Because I would imagine they're not pracking. Like when the team's done, you're grinding out the officials, but you're probably not practicing at all. So I don't know what to think. Have you seen much of this Polish team at all, Regali?
No.
They've got a couple of decent names. Bialy just joined them. And then Groovy, Prism, and Sydney is like some of the other guys. So they're kind of well known in the scene, but maybe not as well known for the team. So I guess that kind of brushes off the 25th, doesn't it, Ryan?
Yeah. So final thoughts, Regali, out of the Mad Lions and Gentium, K23 and Tropic Prague.
Has to be Mad Lions and K23. Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. Nice. Last lot of matchups. Into the Breach taking on Case. Sinners taking on Sampi.
How has that drawn happened? How is that the first round? How have we got like a Slovakian Czech Republic derby going on?
Yeah, that is going to be a fun one to watch. Thoughts on this one, Regali? ITB and Case, obviously, two sides. Maybe Case we haven't seen too much of in recent times. Sinners Sampi though, that is a banger.
Yeah, I mean it has to be ITB in between those two, and then I don't know how Sinners are playing right now, but they used to play good 3 months ago or more.
Yeah. So that's the thing that I think we always reflect on Sinners is when they had Oscar,
Yeah.
they were doing a lot better than what they are now with Forzy. And I mean, it's probably tough for the kid because you're filling some big shoes. You're filling a tier 1 Orpa's role in a team. So that's going to be difficult. But yeah, they haven't quite found the same level of success than when he was there. But it's an interesting event. And I think what's great too is it's like one of the first closed qualifiers in which there's actually prize money. I mean, obviously, yeah, the promotion is very important, but typically closed quals, you get the spot and that's it. But yeah, there is prize money on the line.
Yeah, that's cool. So you're going with the Sinner side then for the last game, Regali?
Yeah, I would.
Nice. All right. So that being said, it's going to be difficult to see how this one goes. Obviously, you know, us at the major kind of predicting how's the matchup's going to go. You know, this is going to be hell to watch.
This is more difficult than the pick'ems.
Yeah, it is. To find out who's going to go through here, we have a very stacked lineup, but you know, it could go anywhere. Honestly, this could be madness. This event as a whole, and as we said, right, to sort of scope out a little bit and look at the main thing is that 8 teams that qualify will play in the event for 120,000 euros plus the 3,000 or 2,000 that they get from qualifying from the main event or from the closed qualifier. So obviously you want to be pushing into the top 4 for the extra the marbles basically. But yeah, this is super exciting, man. I can't wait for this event, and yeah, it's definitely going to be one to watch out for.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much else to report on with this one. I mean, we'll probably find in the next episode, right? We can touch on when the actual main event starts, but
sure, yeah.
Yeah, closed qualifier starts first.
Yes. Do we want to talk about conference maybe, or?
I mean, we could probably skip that one. The one that I want to look at is maybe Valencia closed qual, because the teams have just been invited into that one. In Tropic, Fnatic, so Regali's main team, Mal's and OG. Funny enough, 3 of the 4 teams that are all invited all have academy teams. We don't know about OG Academy just yet, but I'm sure in the next few days we'll probably get to know who they are.
All
yeah.
right.
Regali already knows who they are, but
yeah, I know. Yeah.
Of course he does. The backroom chatter always happens.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, so for Entropic, they obviously did very well in the Dallas qualifier. I think Fnatic, the main team, would have been disappointed with how that event went. So this is an opportunity to redeem themselves.
Yeah.
OG as well, they're fighting roster changes at the moment too. And the open quals allow 2 spots from the first qualifier and 2 spots for the second. And I mean, straight away, I'm thinking, okay, are we going to get a BNE? Are we going to get a K23, a Skade, one of those top dog tier 2 teams in there? Because we saw how good EC Kiev were last time.
Yeah,
We know
possible.
that these like tier 2 teams that come through the open quals, they can win it all. Like they
Yeah.
literally can come first in these sort of qualifiers because if they're on the day performing well, they can go the distance.
Yeah. Do we want to move on to the academy talk?
We can do, mate.
All right, Regali, this is where we're going to need you to be
Full focus, mate.
the big brain. Yeah, exactly. The big brain. We can talk about academy stuff and obviously littered through events that have academy teams in them. Hopefully you've come prepped for this one. I've moved the white logos into the 13th, 16th just because you just don't see them if they're there. So that's on me. That is on me. We're going to ask you to basically rank top 4, then the next 4, then the next 4, then the bottom 4. In what you think as a team, obviously in performance-wise, maybe a little bit of insight for each team and why you put them there as well.
All right. Yeah. So will we start with first 4, right?
Yeah.
We'll
Start
do
top
first 4 and then go
All
down. I
right,
reckon that's the
all
best way.
All right. So us,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that. Confident. Why
Mouse
are
and
you in there? Why are you in the top 4?
because we've just like changed the lineup kinda, and we are playing very good in the practice right now, and we are practicing like we're trying to do it full time kinda, not full time, but maybe from 12 to like 6 or 7. We're putting in the time, and we are training efficient as well. Yeah, it's just Cube's input now. He has more freedom, let's say, because we have
Okay.
a lot of time.
Yeah.
So,
Oh well, I've been sold by that. So yeah, I don't mind you guys in the top 4.
yeah, I mean the time was always the problem for us.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So now that
Okay.
we have it, I think we can do damage.
Hmm.
The second would be Mouse NXT, or not the second, but just yeah.
In the second team in the top 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then oof,
Ooh,
Big
struggling
Academy.
here.
Yeah, Big Academy and Astralis, I think.
Wow.
Do you know
Yeah.
what? Astralis
Yeah.
Talent have been performing really well in like local events recently.
Yeah.
I don't know what's changed with them,
The
but
water's changed.
yeah, they're starting to get a lot of wins under their belt. They're starting to go quite deep in events. So I'd say that they're starting to get onto some really good form.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know. 2 of them, I think they are grinding a lot on Face It. I've already I meet them sometimes.
Take their reload. Give me the 25. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next 4, you're 5th to 8th. Where are we going from here? This is where it gets difficult, right? Separating the middle 2, I feel like, and the last one actually.
I mean, from now on, I don't really know any team. Do you have OG? I don't see OG's
No,
logo.
Well,
no.
we don't know what the lineup is
Yeah.
for OGs. We don't have them because we're
This is
for
the-
us
yeah.
at least.
Yeah, we
it's
don't
not
have
the
any
public
insight. We
information.
don't know. Yeah, we're not as cool. We're not as cool.
All right, I'll put it this way, Regali. Where would you put OG, knowing the lineup?
From 5th to 6th. Like, what is it?
5th to
Yeah,
8th.
5th to 8th.
Eighth,
All right.
5th to 8th,
Okay,
okay.
so you reckon they're decent?
Yeah, they are decent.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. We'll let that be. We'll put it in there as like a ghost one.
Yeah,
where
Yeah,
you
the-
can't see it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then VP Prodigy, because I
Yeah.
know their lineup as well.
All right.
I'm just putting them because I know their lineup, because I don't. Yeah, it would be so hard. 0-0 Prospect, I think.
All right.
They're the ones with Adex, aren't they? The Romanian Orpa.
Yeah, and now they got like Ersin, who's also a
Yeah,
Romanian guy.
they just changed how I don't know about if you think that that's odd, but changing a lineup or a player just before the Academy League, like surely you do it after the Academy League.
I
Uh,
don't
that-
really know, but like it's good for Romanians because they can get like the chemistry between them, so I think it will help them. And then I would put Navi Junior
All right.
and Spirit Academy.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Next 4.
Young Ninjas. Uh, Furia, I think.
Yeah.
Eternal Fire. And I don't really know. who's playing for Godsend or Entropic, or the rest they might be our Epics. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the Godsend team I don't think's very much known as well. The Nine Academy are the Swedes. We've only seen them on HLTV a little bit. The Apex Rebels, I mean, even for those guys, they've only got a 3-man lineup right now. So because a couple of their guys left to join 777.
Yeah.
So we don't even know. Like, I can't imagine that they go Norwegian completely. I'd imagine that they go EU. Like, how are you going to get another 2 Norwegian players to fill out an academy team in such a small region? To be as good as they are. So they might have to go down a slightly different route. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I look at Young Ninjas. Obviously, their lineup is different. But if we were talking about the first season of the Academy League, we probably would have put them in first to fourth. And now, like, their drop off is massive. I think out of all the Academy teams from maybe season 1 to season 4, they've probably dropped off the hardest.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's probably something with the organization that didn't work out. Like, I don't really know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
All right. Well, I think what we'll do then, if you're not too familiar with the rest of the teams, we might just leave them at the 13th to 16th. So we'll just leave them there because, if there's not really.
Can I edit this? Oh, we totally can.
Oh, yeah. 12th to 16th. There you go. Yeah. See? Done it perfectly.
There you go. Life's good. No problems at all. All right. There we go. That's it. Done and dusted. Interesting insight, of course. We could talk about roster changes a little bit. Obviously, we talk about a couple of them recently with obviously Han and whatnot. Dweg, do you wanna run up the changes maybe that you've seen over the last few days and weeks?
The first one is Whitey, one of the UK coaches that Ryan and I are quite familiar with, joins ENCE Academy as their new coach. Now, Regali, do you know who the lineup is for? We're not asking for who the players are, but do you know some of the players at least?
No, I actually do not know.
I think they've only just announced the applications for ENCE Academy today.
Okay.
So maybe they've already got started on that. But if I'm not mistaken, I will.
Is that not the one with the rumor of Jamie G, or is that OG?
That's OG. That's OG.
That's OG.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. We do like a rumor, don't we? We do like a rumor.
Well, it's a public rumor. It's a public rumor.
Well, yeah, just like the Fnatic Rising ones, but we're not here to poke, are we? We're not here to poke. We're not here to poke. No, yeah, he's obviously the ENCE Academy things just come out. They are only just up and running. Came out at 8 AM this morning that you can apply. So.
Oh, okay. So it's proper fresh.
So yeah, we'll find out over time, I reckon.
Yeah. So they don't know the lineup either.
No.
They're not in the Academy League, are they? It's only OG that are. They're not in the.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're not. Okay, because I was gonna say they probably need to get a lineup pretty quickly.
I think you are missing on one team. I can just check now.
Oh.
I think there are 16 teams and you only have 15, right?
No, we have 16, but we might be. Is it OG Academy, right? One of the teams.
Yeah, it might have been.
Is Entropic Future playing? They're not. Are they?
Yeah, Entropic Future. We haven't talked about.
I subbed the Entropic Future for OG because obviously we don't know the OG lineup, and we were wondering if Entropic Prague had been a team, or Future rather, has been a team that you played against or whatnot. But I guess not. So I'll hold my hands up there. That is my bad as well. But yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
But yeah, I mean, that's just been announced. So you'd only imagine the next few weeks, the next month or so, we're going to start getting an idea of the process, the players that are starting to apply, what the ENCE Academy team looks like. And I think it's just a further step in a new direction. You had 8 teams in the first season of the Academy League. You've now got 14. You've now got ENCE looking to put their hand up. Like, it just feels as if a lot of orgs are trying to look to get more academy teams and go down that sort of direction. I guess for Regali, like, if you have a message right as an academy player, like, does it make a lot of sense that these orgs are bringing academy teams? I mean, obviously you're going to say yes, but like, what would be the selling point?
Building future players, not buying them, and maybe selling them later, or just creating the talents. I remember Karn was at podcast with HLTV, and he said about me that I'm a Fnatic product, and it is in a way. Like, I'm learning a lot of CS here from those people with experience. So
Yeah, I think definitely the buyout situation, right? That's probably the main one, Ryan. The idea that buyouts these days are crazy,
Yeah.
and that's why bloody Lollipop 21K can't even find a team. That's why
Yeah.
the king of Tier 2 can't even get off Nemega because the buyout's just too high.
I did find that interesting though, because I wasn't sure if I read this wrong. Obviously, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I read that because of the situation that he's in, Nemiga are still paying him, but
That's
he's
right.
a free agent.
Once he gets signed to an organization, but that wasn't the case beforehand.
Yes.
So that's only a recent change.
Okay. Yeah. It confused me, the wording or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, another one, Illumina part ways with Narot that was coaching. I was very surprised to hear that because obviously Narot was the Aves player, and a very decent IGL in the Polish scene. All of a sudden, he starts doing coaching. So maybe that's a new direction for him to start moving into a coach role. IDK joins Team One, the Brazilian team over there. And then Enterprise, they bench Mieltzi and sign Hahn and Stenks. So we'll see what that's made of. We'll see them in a couple of HLTV officials fairly soon. And I think we were talking about 0-0 prospects. VHW kicked from the team, and Urson takes his place. Are you familiar with this bloke at all, Regali?
No.
No,
I'm not.
Yeah, I'd never heard of him. So maybe we get some glimpses of what he's made of over there. Notice parting ways with EC Brugge, Bialy joining that Jugenentum team that we just spoke about before. And then I guess the only other one is Adam S kicked off Velux, and a bloke called Esrus joining there that also play in Advanced. So hasn't been some crazy changes, but there's been a few.
Yeah. Is that it? Regali, any thoughts on any of the changes? Anything that you think in particular is good, or?
I mean, I have to watch some matches with the new lineups and stuff.
Yeah.
But right now with the Major and We Play Academy that's coming soon, I don't really have time to watch something else, let's say.
The dates have been announced, right, for when the Academy League starts, the 24th of May, I believe.
Yeah.
It's all starting on the 24th, mate. What's going on here?
Yeah. And you guys are in Group A, so you got Mouse NXT, 0-0 Prospects, OG Academy, Fnatic Rising, Spirit Academy, Eternal Fire Academy, and Godsent Academy. The format's slightly different, right? With the way that the play-in stage and the groups are working, obviously, because there's more teams.
I mean, it's just like Season 1. We are playing one best of one a day.
Yep.
And yeah, that's basically it. We are going to meet the same team twice in the tournament, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll probably get an idea on who OG Academy is come a public announcement. Because again, if the event starts in like 6 days, they're gonna get a bit of a move on.
Yes, all got to speed up. Any final thoughts, gents, or are we good to close?
No.
All right.
Top in the group, Regali?
What?
You top in the group with Mouse NXT in there?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Nice. We like it. We like
that.
it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Regali, for joining us, and thanks for coming on and having a chat. And obviously, Dweg, thanks for joining me as always. It's been a pleasure. Make sure to follow Regali, obviously, on his social media. If you're listening and not watching, little hint there, then it's at Regali CSGO on Twitter. Go and follow him there. You can follow us at Tier 2 Talk to not miss it. And you can watch us live and see our faces and look at what we're looking at rather than just listening. But until then, gents, thank you very much for joining us. And until next time, thank you all at home for watching. Bye-bye.